Star Wars is back, baby! Oh man, not only will we be able to watch something new from a galaxy far, far away, but Dave Filoni has killed it. Absolutely killed it. And I just thought I'd put together something very quick to see what I think we can expect from Ahsoka Season 1. First thing that I obviously noticed, the music is insane. The Kylo Bros have done a fantastic job. They really have. They did a great job in Bad Batch and Clone Wars Season 7, so I was very excited to see them get the gig for Ahsoka. The Night Sister has been confirmed. I did see a couple of theories floating around, and from what I'd seen in Mandalorian, I had no idea that Morgan would be a Night Sister. But it's cool to see, you know, I always like seeing more and more people from Dathomir being more mainstream. We had a little bit of a tease with this, with Merrin and Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order, and it's cool to see more Night Sister stuff coming into the main fold. And I'm curious to see what kind of magic we might see, because we know what it's capable of. Is it Mother Talzin? I think that was in the Clone Wars. She was capable of a crazy amount of stuff with her magic. Baylan Skoll, I want to do a full video on this guy. He is so interesting to me, and of course, it goes without saying, rest in peace to the great Ray Stevenson. It's a real shame he wasn't able to see how everyone would receive his work. It really does suck. Now, the character he played, Baylan Skoll, to me is so interesting because he seems like to be like a very layered villain. Now, seeing a villain who raises their apprentice much like a Padawan in a way, because she has the braid, very much that master and apprentice respect. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but the amount of dualities between the episodes and Phantom Menace, both with the apprentices arriving, the very short negotiations, the scene where Shin is sending the little probe droid, much like Maul did in Tatooine when looking for Anakin, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. But no, seeing someone like Baylan Skoll just be, you know, very clinical, clearly wanting to use the dark side, also using a bit of the light side, it seems much less clouded, much less angry than other Dark Jedi that we have seen. In fact, really, I don't think we've seen many Dark Jedis, usually just Jedi or Sith. So seeing someone who's a bit more in the middle between the two, I wouldn't say Grey Jedi, but Dark Jedi, absolutely. And what the turning point for me was when he said it would be a shame to kill Ahsoka because there are so few Jedi left. So he's not diametrically opposed to the Jedi existing, but and we know that he knew Anakin as well, or at least knew of Anakin, which not surprising because Anakin, arguably one of the most famous people in the Order, the Chosen One, prophesies to bring balance to the Force and whatnot. So they're very similar ages. I think Baylan might be 2 or 3 years older than when Anakin was during Revenge of the Sith. We obviously are seeing the theme of the New Republic incompetence again. So we see it in pretty much in all the things that we've seen. So you see it in The Mandalorian, and you definitely see it again as well in this one, just showing how ill-prepared the New Republic was for taking over from the Empire. Now, one of the elephants in the room was Sabine stabbing in the guts like Qui-Gon. Now, personally, I would rather they show her lose the fight in a different way, personally. You know, I wouldn't say it was the same. Qui-Gon got like right center mass, right down here. That thing's guaranteed going to kill him. You know it's going to happen, okay? And even then, the way he, you know, in his death moments, it seems like there might have been a time where he may have been survived for it. But, you know, Sabine, it was on the side, instantly got medical attention. There's a few different factors here that means that she had a much greater chance of surviving than Qui-Gon did. However, I do personally wish that we went for what more like Attack of the Clones did, which is like cutting and grazing them, or, you know, losing a limb and these kind of things. I always feel like if someone gets stabbed with a lightsaber, they should probably die, okay? But let's not pretend it was the same thing, all right? Now, something I keep meaning to post, because I watched obviously did the watch party, something I always forget to do is I have these moments. You know that clip of Leonardo? It's like he does that whistling and at the screen, and I had a few of these moments, and one of them, you see Ahsoka mirroring Anakin so well. That moment where Ahsoka dodges like that, just like very effortlessly, just like this. It's so much like Anakin in Clone Wars Season 7, and seeing a direct nod was awesome. What do I think we can expect even more from Season 1? The main mission is finding Thrawn and Ezra, and most development I think would be focusing more obviously on Ahsoka, obviously being the Ahsoka show, but it's her lack of commitment, her ability to just drop the thing that's getting tough, like for example her relationship with Anakin after she was expelled from the Order, and then tried to bring her back in, she walks away, rightly or wrongly. And then obviously when the going gets tough with Sabine, she walks away. So she has this theme of walking away from tough moments, and that's gonna probably be one of the focus of the show. And I think we're gonna see a lot on this through flashbacks. We're gonna see some more of like maybe some of her tough memories with Anakin, some of her flashbacks with Sabine when they were probably directly teaching. It might even lead to her going down these what if scenarios. It's been, everyone keeps saying how we're going to get Mustafar, like a what if thing with Ahsoka there instead of Obi-Wan, and be like, what if she was still around, would she have been able to save Anakin? And I think if this does happen, I think we will ultimately come to the conclusion that I don't think she would have made a difference. I'm gonna put it out there. I think the only way that Anakin doesn't turn is if Qui-Gon is alive, personally. What I would like to see though, I want to see if there's going to be any more clarification on Anakin as a Force ghost. We see in Return of the Jedi, we see Hayden Christensen, obviously in the edited version, as Anakin as a Force ghost, and it's always been like, why didn't he come back during the sequel trilogy? Why didn't he just tell Ben that this isn't what he was trying to do and this isn't what he was trying to accomplish, and all this other stuff? Now I wonder if Anakin will actually appear to Ahsoka. There's a couple of ways that we can get Hayden Christensen back, and it's obviously there's flashbacks, there's what if scenarios, and there's Force Ghost. And I think it wouldn't surprise me personally if we got a flashback and a ghost scene. That's like the combination I would like. I don't mind what if scenarios. If you were to see a what if scenario, the only way I see it working is something almost like the cave scene for Luke, where where Ahsoka would be in somewhere heavily based on, obviously saturated in the Force, and she would see what life could have been like if she hadn't lost her commitment. But if it was, I feel like that would be more of like one of those trick moments, Luke hits off the helmet, it's his own face, that kind of similar vibe. So I see more personally flashback followed by eventually maybe getting a ghost scene. Probably be a little bit different to how we see it. I don't want to see the same thing we saw with Obi-Wan. Now, I loved seeing Qui-Gon as a ghost, but I think Anakin would more likely be that encouraging voice to take the next step rather than the closing voice in the show. But that's just me. Will we see Rex return? He is someone that if we got a flashback, that's where we'll see him. I remember working out the age on stream one time on how old Rex would be at this point, but he's got to be in his late 80s to early 90s. He's a clone. He's subject to accelerated aging. How that affects him as he gets older, but obviously by Rebels, he's got a white beard. It's that one of those things where you can't really tell how old he's going to be. So if we see him, he's not going to be there like getting back into the fight. He's going to be a very old man. Very old man. Now, I'd love to see Rex. Rex is great. He's one of my favorite clones. But let's remember how old he's going to be. So if we're going to see him, it'll be in a flashback. But I just thought I'd get my initial thoughts out. If you guys haven't already, I do watch parties every single week. Now, obviously, they're released at 2 in the morning my time, and I have to work. So when I get back from work, we do a watch party. So for me, it's 2 a.m. on Wednesday. It's more like 2 p.m. British summertime. So if you want to check out the watch party, check it out. Okay, it's every single week. And then obviously I've got many more videos planned. It's cool. It's really cool. It's the show is set up lovely, and I was really afraid of how people would accept this show if they hadn't seen Rebels. So the way I actually test this is because I got my fiance into Star Wars a couple of years ago. So now, obviously, I watch it, and then at the end of the day, when she's finished work, we'll watch it together, and then I'll use her to test it, because there's a couple of things she'll ask, like, who's that? Who's this? But so far, it hasn't really made a huge difference as to how much she enjoys the show. So I'm hoping as time goes on, people still don't feel like they needed to have watched Rebels. But I hope you all enjoyed it. So thank you all so much for watching. And remember, the Force will be with you. Always.